got to get it 2 inches away from my mouth because apparently no one hears me. I've always been a soft-spoken type of person.
That's only a rumor.
George.
Call the meeting to order. I want to recognize that we're on traditional unceded territory of the Upper Similkameen Indian Band. Motion to adopt the agenda.
Move.
Councillor McLean,
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Willis. Errors or omission, or any additions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Minutes of the February 16th, 2021 regular meeting of council. Recommendation to adopt them. Councillor Gould, seconder. Councillor Elliott. Errors or omissions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. We go down to staff reports. We have a staff report 6.1, the addition of a fully funded UBCM grant of $150,000 to the 2021 Protective Services budget line for a Princeton Wildlife Resiliency and Risk Reduction Grant. Motion.
Make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Willis, seconder. Councillor McLean. Any questions?
Oh, can someone speak on it?
Yeah. Yeah, you want somebody to? You want to speak to it?
Thank you very much. The grant is in keeping with the wildfire protection program offered by the UBCM grant funding. So it's a fully funded grant, and it builds on the $53,000 that we received last year. And once that report is complete, then the items in this grant will be funded, and we can move forward with projects within the community. Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions? Oh, Councillor McLean.
Ed, what would be an example of projects that you're contemplating?
In 2006, the same report was completed. It was the wildfire community resiliency plan. No, sorry, that's the new one. A wildfire plan for the community, and some of the areas that were managed at that time were near the airport subdivision, across the creek on the other side on West China Creek Road, and there was one other parcel that was done towards just on the other side of the fairgrounds.
So it definitely moves towards projects on the ground, not just studies to assess things and that. It moves towards being able to accomplish some work in order to help us out in terms of the dangers that we have with potential wildfires.
That's correct. The grant for this year doesn't include any on the ground works, apart from funding the wildfire community coordinator and building projects within the community, going neighborhood to neighborhood. So basically, hopefully that person will be able to go door to door, do a home inspection and an assessment, and the homeowner is encouraged to follow up with taking action. It will include a $500 rebate managed by us for people who do work over $1,000.
I guess where I'm going with it is we did studies before in terms of assessing, like Princeton is pretty lucky in terms of the fact you have rivers beside us, we have an airport protecting us, we have tailings protecting us and all that sort of thing. But there were areas that were considered dangerous, so that what you're talking about is still looking at things and informing people and everything else. Is there ever, so if we come up with the work that needs to be done, does that fall on the responsibility of the municipality?
The public funds given by the provincial government can only be spent on public lands. So the opportunity to use the money on property that is managed by the town is significant. We can't do work in the absence of the private land and accomplish what's necessary.
No.
So this program is to encourage a lockstep approach with landowners, the municipality, and the province.
Okay.
In areas where the province owns the property, they can go ahead and follow our plan and manage that area. Does that
Perfect.
answer your question?
You betcha. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have a question? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next one is 6.2, a electronic public hearing process. We have a recommendation that council approve the electronic public hearing process and that the electronic public hearing process be published on the Town of Princeton website and include all required public hearing notices.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Elliott, seconder, Councillor Gould, questions? Oh, Councillor Elliott.
I know it says it would be published on the Town of Princeton website, and I would like to request that it also be either posted or pinned on the Facebook page as well, because I know a lot of people seem to go there as opposed to the website.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any other comments or questions? All in favor? Carried, thank you. 6.3, value of tourism. We have a presentation from Gary. Recommendation that council receives, well, I guess we should have it before we receive it.
Thank you. So the presentation is just for information purposes on the value of tourism here for the town of Princeton. Next slide. So Destination Canada identified tourism as one of the pillars of economic development and activity, creates 1.8 million jobs and 2% of the GDP, worth $102 billion in annual generation of income. So how does that impact tourism on Princeton? Last August, we had a study done to get an idea of our traffic volume. Now, that was done during the COVID time, as we all know. So we had traffic counts done in August for a week, and what the forecast on that over the course of a year was 2.25 million cars that passed through our region on an annual basis. McElhaney, the company that did the report, they traditionally estimate between 1.5 and 2 people per vehicle. So what that translates to is 4.5 million people traveling through Princeton annually based on a one-time traffic count. We're planning on doing subsequent traffic counts this year, upcoming years, so we can get a consistent number, because that's valuable data that we can present forward when we have companies approaching us. A lot of times with business relocation, they want to know traffic counts and volumes, and they'll determine whether or not Princeton's a viable option for them to establish a business. So this is a breakdown from budgetyourtrip.com. This is an independent website that averages what a daily cost of a visitor in British Columbia is worth. So you'll note in the top the per person per day value of a traveler to British Columbia is $152. And there's breakdowns of longer periods as well in couples, as you can see. So what that equates to for Princeton is that using the two-person formula for McElhaney, the potential value of each car traveling on that highway is $304 per day to our local business community. So each 1% of traffic that we can redirect from the highway is about 22,500 cars to our downtown. Potential worth, as you can see there, is the 1%, which equates to $6.84 million on a 1% traffic redirection coming through town, 1%. So tourism brings growth and economic development, as we all know. So how we've gotten there, this is our revitalization phase. So we've done with the gateways, as we all know. Just some before and after photos. So what we're doing here is replacing an inconsistent signage with a consistent sign delivering our brand. So you can see the significant improvements we've made on that. So what we're developing now is marketable tourism assets. And those are in the forms of things that are tangibles that people will want to come to Princeton to come and see. So some of those include our golf course, museum, fishing, birding, mountain biking, hiking trails, our RV park. That's just to name a few. So these are the stats from 2014 to 2020 for our visitor center. We've installed traffic counters at the door, so our 2020 numbers are extremely accurate. Every person that comes and goes is counted, and the exits are weighed against that, so we can tell how many people we're going through. So if you'll note, in February of 2020 and March of 2020, prior to COVID, we were experiencing a 30% increase in visitor traffic to our visitor center. Average number we're seeing, our best year was 2016 with just over 19,000, but we're pretty consistent in the 18,000 range. With the exception of last year, as you can see, we were closed due to COVID for a number of months. But what's also interesting is if you look at August, 3,441 visitors. It's very comparable to 2019, no COVID, which is very encouraging. The same thing for September was very comparable, and July the same thing. As soon as we started to see a little relaxation in the COVID protocols, our traffic was right there, and that's with no American tourists, no European tourists, no international travel, zero, which is unheard of for our visitor center. So it's very encouraging to see those numbers despite COVID. So you'll see the increase there on those 2 months. So here's some of the feedback that we've gotten just in the last, basically last 10 days since we put the new facade on the visitor center, which is still in progress, just being finished up. So this is where it's unique for us. It's the one thing that we can control and influence is to the number of people we bring into town. This is probably the only industry that we have a direct say, and the town has a say in cooperation with our stakeholders in the town and council. We're able to be proactive rather than reactive. We can create the marketable opportunities and end user experience that focus on visitor attraction, which will make Princeton a far more lucrative place for people as they come to not only visit, but we'll see a transition in people wanting to move here, live here, start a business here. So that I'm kind of going on a model, a day, a month, a week, a lifetime. We're trying to build that longer relationship with our visitors. And that completes it. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
Anybody have any questions? Comments? Yeah, Councillor McLean.
You did the traffic count in August,
Yes.
so you did the parameters in terms of the fact that August is our busiest month of the year, and just calibrated it back kind of thing for the
Yeah.
other months?
Yeah, so McElhaney put in their formula based on the traffic volume for that study,
Okay.
and that's how they came up with that number.
Yeah, perfect.
That was a third party that came up with that number, so it wasn't
No,
us coming
no.
up with that, just for information, yeah.
Thank you.
And they're the same guys that Highways uses?
Yes, we did. It was actually a partnership we did with Highways. So Highways paid half, we paid half, so it worked out good because Highways was looking for information as well. We may be able to do that again in the future. I think there might be some opportunity there, so it's very good data to have. I get asked it frequently from people that contact us what our traffic counts are.
So when you're talking about people who want traffic counts, we're talking like Tim Hortons and those guys that want
We're
to know?
talking about businesses that are thinking about locating here. Yeah, there's certain ones that are gonna require, they have a formula they put in and they'll know exactly if that amount of volume is going by. I just had an inquiry today regarding it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent. It's great numbers to have. Anybody else?
No, it's good.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Gary.
Thank you.
Recommendation to receive for information his report. Councillor Gould, seconded Councillor Willis. No further questions. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Council reports. George.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I had 1 week of meetings that I missed due to illness, but I did attend the PXA AGM on Tuesday, February 23rd, and thank you to Councillor Gould for helping tally the ballots. We had an actual election, no acclamations except 1 seat, so it was great to see that. And it was actually really good to see so many people that stepped up who wanted to get involved in the PXA on the board. So that was pretty exciting as well. Other than that, I attended a special meeting that was held here Thursday, and that's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you. Councillor McLean.
Nothing to report, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Councillor Willis.
I've also been laid up on the couch for a week here, so I don't have much to report.
Okay. Councillor Gould.
I attended some online webinars. February 17th and 24th did the webinars for SILGA, which is the Southern Ontario Local Government Association. Those are continuing weekly until AGM. And February 18th, I attended an online pickleball meeting with Cody Naples and some of the pickleball members, just discussing some of their plans that they're looking for funding and applying for grants. And February 23rd, attended the PXA meeting with Councillor Elliott, and it was a socially distanced meeting in the indoor arena, which is open. February 25th, I attended the special meeting of council as well. And then I just want to say thank you for these lists with our names on it.
They're nice, aren't they? How are you finding the speaker series?
Good.
Good.
Yeah, it's at a good time too, because it doesn't affect anybody that's working. Right?
Good. Let's see, what have I got here? I've attended those speaker series from SILGA. Just trying to think of what's real pertinent here. We had a museum meeting, and when was that? That was on last Thursday, I believe it was. Thursday before, 18th. They're moving forward with some projects. They've hired a couple people through there to work on the archives and that. So they're hopefully going to get some of the work that they've been wanting to get done caught up on. We had a follow-up meeting with AIM on the roads situation. I think AIM's done a better job, and it was with industry, and industry felt the same, that things are getting a little bit better out there. Yeah, I think that's the real important things that haven't been talked about. So that's my report. Move on to 7.2. An Memorandum of Understanding with the Vermilion Forks Métis Association. Recommendation that council adopt the Memorandum of Understanding between the Vermilion Forks Métis Association and Town of Princeton, and that the mayor be authorized to sign the Memorandum of Understanding.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Elliott, seconded. Councillor McLean. Any questions or comments? Councillor Gould.
Do you want to get?
I think this is a great thing. So the, as you know, we have a chartered Métis association in town. They are the community voice of the Métis community in Princeton. And in discussions with them, they thought it would be a good idea that we had a MOU with them, as well as so that we work together and recognize each other. And yeah, it's always great to have something with your local First Nations at all levels to say that we're willing to sit down and talk and communicate and keep the doors of dialogue open, so. I think this is a big step. From my understanding, we may be the only community in British Columbia with that it has gone down this road, and we may be the only community in Canada. We're not 100% sure, but British Columbia for sure. So I think it's a big move, and I think it's important that we do this as well. So.
We have a current memorandum of understanding with that responsibility.
We do. Correct, yeah.
So with this memorandum, we're able to disclose with the town and
Yep.
the Metis not having to do it with the.
Yeah, the other one was initiated by the Upper Smokeman Indian Band, and they wanted we had a previous one, and it was with the regional district, the town, and the Upper Smokeman Indian Band.
And Upper Smoky Indian Band covers the H and
Yeah, yeah.
another community.
Yep. Any other comments or questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Number 8, correspondence received and file. We have 8.1, a letter from Mayor Dingwall of the City of Pitt Meadows. 8.2, the Ombudsperson report. 8.3, mobile BC service cards, and 8.4, office letter from the Office of the Premier. Motion to receive and file. Councillor Gould, second Councillor McLean. Questions or comments? All in favor? Carried, thank you. 10, bylaws and resolutions. The 2020 financial plan bylaw. Recommendation that council adopt the Town of Princeton 5-year financial plan bylaw 2021-2025, number 995-2020.
The motion, Mr. Mayor?
Councillor Willis, seconder. Councillor Gould, questions or comments? Councillor Gould?
Just wondering, did you receive any more feedback after our public or last meeting?
No, just there was one follow-up question that I'm working on right now, and it didn't have anything to do with the actual adoption of the bylaw. So,
Any other questions? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. 10.2, Town of Princeton Subdivision Development Servicing Bylaw number 996, 2021. Recommendation of the Town of Princeton Subdivision and Development Servicing Bylaw number 996, 2021 be given a third reading.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor McLean, or Elliott, seconder. Councillor McLean, questions or comments? All in favor? So moved, thank you. 10 point,
I just want to reiterate that this is a step to making things easier for builders and developers and all that kind of thing.
correct. We're all about making things easier around
Cheers to that.
10.3, the Town of Princeton Volunteer Fire Department Bylaw. Recommendation of the Town of Princeton Volunteer Fire Department Bylaw number 997, 2021 be adopted. Councillor Gould, seconder.
Second, that, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Willis. Questions or comments? All in favor? Carried, thank you. No new business. Conclusion, recommendation that the meeting be closed to the public for considering of acquisition, disposition, and or expropriation of land and improvements if the council considers the disclosure could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality. Councillor McLean, seconder. Councillor Gould.
Forced him into it.
All in favor? Carried, thank you. Good night, everybody.